everyone, my name is Noëlla and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to tell you 10 fun things to do in Amsterdam. So let's begin with number 1. So the first thing is to take a canal cruise. There are a lot of different cruises that you can make in Amsterdam in the canals. You can also learn a lot of fascinating facts along the way. It's a fun and easy way to explore the city. And it's also very relaxing because you only have to sit in a boat. Most of the boats are departing around Amsterdam Central, so that is very easy access. If you have a lot of time and you're not in a hurry, then you can take the boats that last around 75 minutes, and those are the best ones. You can also take some classy boats, and those are in the evenings, and that means that you can also have dinner on a boat or take a cocktail cruise, and you can also have a boat with a jazz band on board. There are over 165 canals combined, and they have over 100 of kilometers of length. When taking the cruises, you can see a lot of houseboats and monumental buildings along the way. You also always have like a tour guide on the boat, so they will always tell you what and where you are looking at. So it's very interesting to take one of these canal cruises. But make sure that you always do some research before you go into these boats. Maybe you don't like it and then you can better go for another boat. Number 2. Try as many Dutch snacks that you can. For example, we have the stroopwafel. Those are 2 thin layers of waffle with in the middle a little bit of syrup. It's actually just a little cookie, and those are the most popular. We also have bitterballen. Those are deep fried crispy balls with meat inside, and they usually are served with mustard. You can also eat them with ketchup or mayonnaise, but you can also eat them just how they are. So when you think of Amsterdam, you also think of their famous herring, and that is just raw fish. There are a lot of herring carts around Amsterdam, so that won't be a problem to find them. If you go, you can ask for 1 bread of herring, a broodje haring, and then you get served 1 herring in a small sandwich, served with some pickles and onions. The best time to try some raw herring over here is between May and July, and they say that the herring is the sweetest in those times. So also very famous is our cheese. There are a lot of cheese stores around Amsterdam, so you can't miss it. Most of the stores you can also try and taste some of the cheeses, and yes, it's just fun to see and how it looks. So also very popular are poffertjes. Those are tiny little pancakes served with butter or sugar. They are served in Amsterdam in every pancake house, or you can also find them on the streets in some of the stalls. And then also one of the famous pastries around Amsterdam and in Holland are tompoesen. A tompoes is a cream-filled pastry, and on top there is a layer of pink icing, sometimes with a little bit of whipped cream, and sometimes the icing can go from pink to orange. It's always pink, but on King's Day it is orange. Those are the most popular snacks that I will recommend you to try. There are lots of other different things that you can also try, like black licorice and other things, but I think you have to figure it out yourself. The next thing that I'm going to recommend you is to visit one of the famous parks around Amsterdam. There are multiple that you can choose from. The most popular one is the Park, and this one is located in the city center. You can take a lot of strolls around this park. You can see a lot of people having picnics or barbecuing and children playing. It's a very large park. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold outside, there are always people walking around this park. But when it's hot and sunny outside, this park will be packed with people. Two other popular parks are the Wester Park and Rembrandt Park. In the West District lays the Wester Park. This is more like a grassy field kind of park, but it's totally worth a little visit. Another option to go to is the Amsterdam Forest, and this lays on the edge of the city. You can go for a little walk or just rent a paddle boat, or you can visit a little goat farm. So plenty of options. Another fun thing to do is to visit the I Amsterdam ladders. These ladders usually travel around Amsterdam, so sometimes it's hard to spot them. But there are two locations that they're staying at permanently. So the first one is at Schiphol Airport. It's right when you arrive at arrivals number 1. And the second location is by Sloterplas Lake in West. But these ladders were designed for outside use and for free running and parkour. So most of the ladders are a little bit damaged and some of the ladders can lay flat, so this is not really an option to take a very nice picture, maybe for Instagram or something else, but it is fun to visit them. Make sure to visit the Tulpfields in the Keukenhof, the Kitchenhof, in the spring. It's really something you should experience if you travel here in the spring. There are a variety of flowers blooming everywhere. It's like a typical site in Holland. You have a lot of flowers coloring from red, pink and yellow, and it's just something very overwhelmingly and beautifully, and it makes a lot of beautiful and great memories and pictures. When you think of Holland, there's one place you will think of, and that is het Anne Frank Huis. The Anne Frank house. This is a canal house from the 17th century where Anne and her family were hiding from the Nazis for like 2 years. This house is now a permanent exhibition on the life and the times when Anne and her family were staying there. And you can of course visit this very little cramped house. This is one of the most important and historical places and sites in the whole world. This is a very big reminder of the horrible things that happened of the Second World War. It's also just very interesting to visit. The Anne Frank house draws around 1.5 million visitors each year. You can see her real life diary in a glass case, and it's a very powerful experience. It's recommended to buy tickets online, and I think like 2 months in advance, because it's such a popular place. You can also get tickets on the spot, but it's a lot harder and you have to wait a long time. So make sure to plan things in advance. If you want to know a lot more about one of the biggest museums of Holland, then I would recommend you go to the Van Gogh Museum. This museum is one of the biggest and most popular attractions in Amsterdam. The Van Gogh Museum has more than 18 million visitors a year. I would recommend that you buy tickets online so you don't have to spend hours in line for this museum. You can't really just turn up, or you have to wait like hours before you can get in. No matter what you do or what time it is of the year, this museum is always jam-packed with people. This museum is very popular, so don't expect that you have the whole floors to yourself. You need a lot of patience because there is a lot of information that you can get from each painting. The Van Gogh Museum is built upwards, so there are a lot of stairs and you will be on your feet a lot. You also have to pay attention to which part of the museum you are able to photograph and not get in trouble with security. Also, if there is a painting you really would like to see, make sure you do some research online. For example, the painting The Starry Night. This painting is actually permanently in display in MoMA in New York. The museum is also very strict about what kind of bags you can take in. They usually allow small bags like little handbags, but if you have bigger bags than a little handbag, you have to pay extra for your bag. A fun thing to do is also visit the Albert Kuip Markt. This is a street-length market and it has a very big range of food, clothes, knickknacks, and a lot of souvenirs. And it's also a great place to soak up the atmosphere. This market is the busiest and largest market in Amsterdam. It has sometimes over 260 stalls. This is also a perfect place to get some typical Dutch snacks that I talked about earlier, like the herring and the stroopwafels and the poffertjes. And when you're done with this markt, you can go to the surrounding areas and go to the cafes or the restaurants. If you haven't heard already, the Netherlands and Amsterdam is known for bikes, for people riding bikes. So if you don't want to walk around Amsterdam, you can rent a bike. Did you know that Amsterdam has more bikes than people? It is said that Amsterdam has over 880,000 bikes. You can rent a Mac bike for a few hours or you can rent it for a whole day. It's a very quick and easy way to explore. You can bike and stop wherever you want at unexpected highlights. And it's also a very unique experience. There is just one thing you have to be very careful because Amsterdam is very, very busy. And it can be sometimes very dangerous. If you don't want to ride a bike, you can also just walk or you can use the public transportations. There are metros, trams, buses and ferries. So there are a lot of options how you can travel. And also what I said before, you can take some canal cruises. And if you think about Amsterdam, you probably heard about the Redlight districts. Dutch people call it the Wallen. And this is one of Amsterdam's biggest and best known attractions. And this is prostitution for women. It's also party central for stag and hen-dos. The Red Light District is also the city's oldest neighborhood and home to a lot of monuments, churches and a lot of little squares that are well worth visiting. One of the oldest churches is dated in 1200. There are a lot of things to do in this red light district. You can just wander around and be amazed about what you're going to see. Around the area there are a lot of shops and fashion boutiques and also restaurants. So there is a lot to do around that area. One thing that I didn't mention were all the stores you have around Amsterdam because they are literally everywhere. There's one very big place and it's called 9 Streets. And that is jam-packed with a lot of clothing stores and restaurants and a lot of things. So just look it up and you can shop till you drop in Amsterdam. Make sure to visit the biggest shopping mall in Amsterdam and this is called the Bijenkorf. And this mall is located on Dam Square. So yes, these are 10 fun things you can do in Amsterdam. There are a lot more things that you can do obviously. But I think these are the best things you can do if you ever visit Amsterdam. So yes, I hope you've learned a little bit about Amsterdam and maybe if you're going to visit, keep one of these things in your mind. I hope you like this video and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye!